Hi there, my name is Paula. I've lived in the Yukon for 27 years, and most of those in Dawson City. I spent the summer chatting with locals and visitors to find out what would be good for you to know before you leave home for the north. Here's what I found out for you. First off, don't miss Dawson City.
Here we are sitting above the confluence of the Klondike and the Yukon rivers. The Klondike is the dark, crystal clear river running into the murkied waters of the Yukon that are a little bit muddied from the glacial silt of the White River. If we were to follow the Klondike River Valley and just go a couple of hillsides over, that's where gold was first discovered on Bonanza Creek on August 17th of 1896. And that's the news that really rang out and shook the world and brought the thousands of adventure seekers to the traditional territory of the Tronduk First Nation. It's hard to imagine, but at the height of the gold rush, there were over 30,000 people living in Dawson City, and the tents and the buildings went all the way up the hillsides. Today, the town has a population of just under 2,000 people.
Although the Yukon is a vast area, there are only a handful of communities to visit, and each is very distinct with what it has to offer. Longtime Yukoners and every visitor I spoke to agreed, you haven't been to the Yukon unless you've visited Dawson City. Number 2, allow more time than you think for Dawson City.
It's pretty crazy that there's a golf course in Dawson, eh?
Think about it, yeah, we're pretty lucky to do it all.
Oh! Nice tip! I hope you got that.
Most expect the wilderness. Visitors are continually surprised with how much there is to experience in Dawson City.
Not enough time. Oh, well, thanks for chatting. Have a great trip.
But visitors were amazed at how culturally rich Dawson City is and the extent of the First Nations' influence in developing art scene.
This here is a wolf. The fur is not as soft as other.
This would make nice rim for a parka. It's hard to imagine that these massive boats went up and down the river. The Monte Carlo, this actually was the Monte Carlo. I think it was a gambling place back at the turn of the century. Dawson's so neat. I mean, Front Street is the only street in Dawson that's paved.
Number 3, expect more than you ever expected.
Because I remember a time when this was completely overgrown, and now it's beautiful. They wanted people to come and see and, you know, to understand, and apparently it's pretty popular. People like to check out dead people. Who knew? Madame Tremblay was a milliner. She brought in all the finest fashions from Paris during the gold rush. You know, so far north and getting fashion in this city from Paris. Émilie Tremblay was one of the first pioneer women to cross the Chilkoot Pass. And although she was the only woman on Miller Creek, and although she spoke no English, she was French, she later recalled, "I wouldn't have traded the sum of my experiences, and especially not my first trip to the land of gold, for any of the best rewards the outside could have had to offer me." I know exactly how she feels. It's such an amazing place, Dawson City. Well, tell me about the Riverside Arts Festival. They set up right along the river, is that right?
Yeah, along the dike. So there's a couple of big tents, and they have a number of accomplished artists doing demonstrations, and then they also have workshops with some highly skilled artists, so you can try out a new medium.
So anybody that happens to be in town, so whether it's, you know, highway travelers or the Holland America people or friends and family that are visiting, they can go down and they can participate.
You can participate at whatever level you want to.
Yeah.
You can just browse and shop, or you can try your hand at something, or you can have
That's
one-on-one
so
discussions
neat.
with some really skilled artists. Like,
Now I'm
you're
excited.
really missing something.
I've heard that, so I'm excited to come back, hopefully next year.
Everyone's heard of the Klondike Gold Rush, and most people assume that the gold they see today was mined 100 years ago. So they're pretty excited to learn that it's being mined today and mostly by Yukon
Would
families.
you like to hold this,
I
Paula?
would love to hold.
That's a nice worry stone.
I don't think I'd be worried if I had this stone.
Well, thank you for showing us
welcome.
that. The beautiful thing about Dawson is there's a very wide array of culture to experience.
Just north of Eagle Plains.
And your family vacation end of summer trip
And
was what?
Back to school, caribou hunting.
This is the Yukon. Okay, so who all was hunting?
Well, that's everybody.
Are you going to show us what you got?
We can.
That would be awesome. This is amazing.
Dirty vehicle.
Yeah. Holy.
We have mine, and
How do you know that's yours?
because it's the biggest.
No, seriously, it's very culturally rich here.
Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs, et bienvenue au complexe historique de Dawson.
This is the one that they would let little kids drink because it's a relaxant, you know. They're boing, boing, boing. Come spend time with Grandma and have some tea. This is the Labrador tea, and this is what I have mixed today.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
And it keeps colds away. And it's mixed with the rose hip, so it's vitamin C, as well as this can be used in salads, and you can garnish like desserts with it as well.
Those are what, wild rose petals?
Yep. So there's some leaves in there, and they won't hurt you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, people often stop and ask me in Whitehorse if it's worth making the extra trek up to Dawson City, because it's about 540 kilometers, I think, up to Dawson. And I always think of a quote from one of the Holland America bus drivers who used to say, going to the Yukon and not going to Dawson City is like going to Disneyland and sitting in the parking lot.